got some new threads. I picked this up at Breakaway this weekend. Breakaway, the logo over here, as usual. Big game this weekend, had a grand old time, and then they threw this out in the audience, and one of the few advantages to being tall in paintball. All you guys playing those short little bunkers, yeah, you have the advantage when you're short, but when they started throwing free stuff to the audience, it's all me. But playing there this weekend really kind of got me thinking about some of the old times, because Breakaway used to be Paintball Sam's, and we used to always play the big game at Sam's. I mean, it was the opener of the season. It was the way we closed the season. It's just how we played. In order to understand the story, you got to understand a couple things about Paintball Sam. First thing you got to understand is how the Rambo rule works. And the way the Rambo rule works is that you have to get up to your opponent and put your hand on their person, and that eliminates them. You say Rambo, you put your hand on them, they're out. And this does not mean you can butt strike them, you can't jab them with the gun, no judo kicks. And the other thing you gotta understand is Nicaragua, which is the field there. They have several fields there, obviously, but the one field that we always played at the end of the day is Nicaragua, or just Nick. And it's building to building, and it's all these just, you know, wooden walls and stuff, and it's a lot of fun. So we're playing the last game of the day on Nicaragua, and it's an October day. It's a nice day. It's, you know, we're having a grand old time there, and I'm playing stock class, which is something that we always did during the big games. You always play normal on the first day, you play stock class on the second day, because it's a lot less weight. You don't get tired as easily. I run into one of the huts, and I know this is a one-way trip, and I'm doing this voluntarily, because I just want to get in here, and this is my spot. I'm putting out the unwelcome mat, the white picket fence, everything. Now, something about wood that you might know if you've been playing paintball for a while, or if you happen to work with wood. If you take untreated wood and you leave it out for a long while, it warps, and eventually it'll start breaking apart. So what were solid wood walls eventually kind of split apart a little bit, and you get these little gaps in them. And now in this particular building there were a couple of major shooting holes to shoot through, but the three major ones that I had was I had the window on one side of me, I had another window way on the other side, but that was basically useless for where I was shooting. But out the back wall I had this little hole about yay big, and it was about 3 foot off the ground. And as I'm sitting there just plinking away, having a grand old time, 12-gram guns, you run out of juice after a little while, so I changed 12 grams, popped the old one out, put the new one in, and cocked the gun ready to shoot. But what I didn't realize was that one of the other guys from the other team ran up to the building that I was using for cover and decided to use it for cover against my guys behind me. The only problem was that he had his belly to the wall, so he basically was facing me, but he couldn't see me inside the building there. And I could see him, but I only had one good shot on him. Yeah, it was about the hole this big, and it was right about here, and he was, you know, he was pressed up hard into the wall there, so I mean, he was, okay, there's no good way to say this. He was pushing his junk through the wall. Now my first reaction, I see this guy, and he's got it right there in the wall over there. So my first thought is, okay, I'm just going to shoot him. Oh wait, no, wait. I can't do that, because if I do that, the game's going to end. If you've never had the pleasure of shooting a 12-gram gun, when you put a fresh 12-gram in, your first shot is just a rocket. It comes out there at the maximum velocity, sometimes a little bit higher depending if the CO2 is a little warm. So that first shot, it's going to, yeah, and point blank, right in the, it's not going to be good. It's not going to end well. The guy's going to fall over. They're going to stop the game. Everybody's going to yell at me. I don't like this plan. So then I have the second thought, and it's, hey, I can just Rambo the No. What I end up doing is taking the barrel of the gun, and I kind of poke. That was the most polite thing I could think of doing. I'm trying to not put it right center, because that sends the wrong message. So I'm poking the barrel of my gun in this guy's crotch and saying, hey dude, take the hit, you're done. Walk off. This guy's on the other side of the wall and he says, what? I'm not out, you didn't Rambo me. Okay, time out. I've got the barrel of my paintball gun in your and you're arguing with me? The correct response is to say, thank you for not shooting me in the and letting me have children sometime in the near future. I'm going to walk off the field now and thank the Lord that you have trigger control. But no, this guy's going to argue with me. And why would you argue with a guy who's got a gun in... Why? Well, it ends up that we're arguing for 10-15 seconds, and while we're arguing, somebody else on the other team figures out, hey, there's a dude in there. He runs around, he puts his gun inside of the window, and he just shoots. Now, the other guy, when he suddenly realizes that what kind of peril he was in, he turns around and he hauls the other direction. So he runs away from me. I'm figuring, fine, whatever, I'm going to call myself on this one, because obviously I've got a lot of paint on me. I'm going to go clean myself up. I walk out to the dead box and I run into one of the referees there, Harry. He's a long-time ref. Now, what I didn't realize was that the guy that I was arguing with When he ran away from me, he actually ran into his own team. They thought he was on my team, so they shot him up, and he wandered off to get back into the game. So I walk over to Harry and I ask him, hey, is the Rambo rule still in effect here? And Harry says, yeah, the Rambo rule is still in effect here. Why? So I explained the situation about this guy who basically was right there, and he put himself right through the window over here. And Harry asked me, well, could you tell me what the guy looked like? I said, Harry, the guy was close enough, I could tell you his religion. Now, meanwhile, the guy who was in question over here, he actually walked up in this conversation as I'm talking to Harry, and he just kind of very quietly cleaned off his gear and quietly turned around and went back onto the field. So I think that was when he realized exactly what kind of bad situation he was in. Well, it ended up I had to get new lenses for my goggles and all that other fun stuff, and I ended up not going back into the game at that point because I couldn't see a freaking thing because the paint was between the lenses, but at least I got a good story out of it.